Good day everyone. So on today's topic we'll be discussing the Kokomi puzzle and why this character was misunderstood and is also a bit misunderstood still today. And we need to rewind the clock. So when Kokomi came out, a lot of people sort of looked at her passive talent, which is the flawless strategy, and said, well, minus 100% crit rate means you're going to be useless as a character. And in fact, a lot of people just said, well, Kokomi is just a little bit of a gimmick to deal with corrosion. And I think back then people did not really understand the true fundamentals of the character, and we'll go over what those five fundamentals are, including what the then and still now like popular criticisms are. So on screen we'll go counterclockwise. You can see what those five fundamentals are. So the first one being applying off-field AoE Hydro, and you might say, yeah, but we've got Tartaglia and Xingshu, unmatched in the Hydro application, and we'll say, okay, that's fine. But Kokomi can heal, I would say, and you might say, yeah, but just hashtag insert character that heals with their burst can also do it, so therefore she's bad. And I'll be like, okay, fine. Kokomi, yeah, she's not really that strong in the damage dealing department, so let's just skip that one. Tanking, yeah, because Kokomi doesn't need to build crit rate and crit damage, she can obviously use some of her substats to go into HP percentage, hence giving her a large health pool, and she can like tank damage. And at this point you might say, yeah, but Zhongli, Diona, hashtag just use a shield, so I don't need a tank. Okay, fine. Kokomi's got multi-ranged attacks. Her jellyfish, or a fish that she sends out, can attack enemies really far up vertically at range. Bakekrage does AoE damage. Ocean Clam Set does AoE damage. So she's got this multi-range sort of capability to attack. And you might say, yeah, but there's this little character called Ganyu which can do the same but just a lot better. So, Kokomi is just kind of useless. And at this point, I think this is where a lot of people would be quite happy in criticizing and just writing off the character. But here's the fundamental thing, or one of the fundamental things that people have missed. None of those characters that I gave as an example can do all five of these things at the same time as well as Kokomi can, and without, in some sense, sacrificing in a bit of a way. So in other words, if you want to do massive healing with Bennett, well, his personal capacity to deal damage is kind of hindered. It's the same with Zhongli. You can't really build a super offensive Zhongli without sacrificing on the tanking. And this sort of leads me to my next sort of point. And well, as good as all of these five things are, there's a sort of a bit of a hidden secret to all of that. So what is it? Well, it's the fact that this role compression stacks. And this is the actual heart of Kokomi, as I sort of want to try and put across with this picture. This is what makes Kokomi really work well, is the ability for all these components to work well, not just with Kokomi, but with her teammates and stacking with the ability of her teammates. And that is what makes Kokomi so uniquely powerful, because she can fulfill these multiple roles, and these roles build on other abilities, which is just insane. So let's look at a bit of an example. So do you all remember the Deceitful Domain event? So what was very characteristic about this event was the fact that your characters could very easily just be killed and one-shotted. But look at what Kokomi does and her role compression. She's got Beidou and Xingshu that provides damage reduction, and her having a large HP pool together with continuous healing literally allows us to survive the onslaught that we get. In fact, we can do this very, very comfortably and fairly consistently so as well. What's even more is Beidou and Rosaria can obviously help trigger Superconduct, which means Kokomi's Ocean Hued Clam set will deal a large amount of damage in an AoE, which is just absolutely insane in and of itself. You can see there 33k. There's another white number, but that's just due to the buffs are in the event. And you can see it just works really, really well. So all of these things that we talked about with Kokomi, when you put it into a proper team, they stack, and it is fairly impressive what you can do. And what I will show now on screen is just an example of literally standing still in one spot, and I'm just going to pop all my elemental burst and you will just see what happens. I talked about Kokomi being able to attack from range, and look at how well she and Xingshu in particular pair as well. We're just standing still. We're not even moving. A lot of people said, "Oh yeah, the jellyfish is bad because you can't move it." Well, in this case, I don't need to move it. In fact, I can just take the enemies out from range. Again, this highlights the fact that there's so much more to Kokomi than just being a jellyfish bot carrying thrilling tales of Dragon Slayer. There is a lot of gameplay depth, and hopefully these little very basic examples can sort of bring it out for you. But I wanted to also take another practical example, and I know a lot of people have asked for this. What do you do against Thunderbird over here? Well, you can just stand there and tank his attacks. You can see it doesn't matter. Look at our HP pool. It doesn't matter that he's attacked us. We just instantly undo all the damage. And even Xingshu, look, he's got even a scratch on him. That's just so cool. And now I'm just going to retreat. I'm going to activate my ult. And I'm just going to stand here doing nothing and attacking Thunderbird from range. And that's it. You know, if he's going to fly behind me, no problem. If he's going to fly above me, no problem. If he's going to push me, no problem. This is what's so really cool about Kokomi, and she's a very very good character to deal with him. Look at that. Even if we're not in our elemental burst, we can still trigger Xingshu's rain swords. Of course, on the more higher end, you can also run Kokomi as a freeze. In fact, what you can see on screen is I'm just going to have a little bit of a disco party here at the back of the map, and the enemies, oh yeah, look, they're still frozen there down there. So let's just put up the disco ball and just shoot them. They're all nicely frozen. So you guys can see the AoE freeze is just it's just ridiculous. And I mean, obviously this is just a bit of a meme example, but I think it does illustrate the point of what else you can do with Kokomi just by pressing a single button. This is the fun one as well for me. Against this perpetual mechanical ray in the Deceitful Domain, look at Kokomi's health bar. We are literally just not dying. And oh, what's even more is we're attacking whilst being able to tank. Like, how many other characters can do this? How many other characters can literally face tank this thing whilst taking true damage and still dealing damage as well? It is just absolutely insane. You can't do this with Bennett. You can't do this with Zhongli. Yeah, I know you can use a team, you can buff and whatever, but on their own, they're not going to be able to survive. No character can survive. It's only really Kokomi that can very comfortably, and again, the word is comfortably and consistently, just stand here and tank like a beast. So as we're now heading off to the sort of end of this video, I think it is now quite obvious in hindsight that Kokomi's passive talent, the Flawless Strategy, is actually really quite a flawless strategy because of the fact that not being able to crit enables her to do all of these multiple things simultaneously. It enables her to be a role compressor, and that allows her to be more flexible in a lot of other teams where characters might be considered, you know, niche. Think about Shenna, think about all these other characters. They've got certain uses, but the amount of things that you could effectively do is not as ubiquitous as it is with Kokomi. And this is just why this character is so absolutely beautiful. How all of these sorts of individual parts fit together and just gel together really, really well. And that's what I like about this character, such surprising depth. And I'm very happy to have been playing this character like for months, and just time and time again being able to discover new things, new ways of playing with her. I think it is absolutely exciting, and whether you're free to play, whether you're a whale, hopefully you'll also come to see all of these different aspects. So yeah guys, in conclusion, this is the Kokomi Puzzle Explained. This is why she is so good. She won't be the best at any one thing, but for all of the things that she can do, she is absolutely brilliant. And with that, I will just say thank you so much for watching and have a great day. Cheers.